Kylie, what are you doing?
Cardio.
Why?
To get ready
For what?
for self-defense.
You need cardio for self-defense?
I hope not.
All right, guys, so in this video, or no, not video, in this podcast, we are going to be talking about probably my biggest failure as a self-defense instructor.
Cardio.
You don't have to rub it in.
Actually, it's overall health and self-defense.
I know, but I just saw cardio.
Is that a word that bothers you? Like hiking bothers me?
No, not
You
really.
like
Okay.
walking.
I will walk, yes. I'm just not going to hike. It requires too much cardio.
No, it's not that it like really bothers me and upsets me. It's just the fact that I know that I have not really, probably since I stopped fighting, I've not put the oomph behind that I used to.
Man, my trigger pull has gotten so much better. What'd you say that this was called?
A SIRT pistol. S-I-R-T, SIRT. It's a laser pistol that allows you to work on the fundamentals of shooting without using tons of expensive ammo.
That's crazy. It felt almost exactly like a real gun, but without the recoil.
That's because SIRT models its pistols after real guns. They have multiple models from real companies that have realistic trigger pull, and most of them have removable magazines, so you can even work on reloading.
Wow, no wonder it helps so much.
Yeah, and the best part is that if you go to sirtpistol.com, you can get 10% off with the coupon code IMPACTDEFENSE.
Awesome. How do you spell that again?
S-I-R-T, SIRT.
Cool.
For today's news story, this is a road rage situation. Well, is it?
I don't know. You're the one that has the story.
I'm not sure. I don't know. It's just odd. So, a 19-year-old and his 22-year-old friend pulled into a driveway of a home where the 22-year-old was living. A 60-year-old man, suspecting the pair were trespassing, then blocked the driveway with his own truck and approached the car. Once he spotted the two men, he began arguing with them and demanding they leave. The 19-year-old man then asked the 60-year-old man to move his truck because he decided it was the best way to get out of there. The 60-year-old then moved his truck, but he came back just before the teenager left and started choking him through the car window, according to the deputies. The 19-year-old then fired shots, killing the 60-year-old man. Both of the younger men tried to render aid, but it was too late. One eyewitness says it looked like the situation was de-escalating before the older man returned to the car. The woman, who didn't want to share her name or show her face, said that the man pulled up to the home, blocking the driveway. She said he then went up to the car, the young men, and started arguing with them. They couldn't hear exactly what they were saying, but the woman says when he pulled out into the street, only to run back to the car screaming at them. I was looking to see if he had something in his hands, for a weapon, the woman said, and he didn't have anything in his hands. And they put the window down in the car, and he had his arm out of the car, and then I heard 2 shots. The woman said the man fell down onto the ground, and her first thought was to go and help them, but she knew it was too late.
Whoa.
One mistake I'm noticing is they rolled down the car window.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like they were pretty much so in the right. If you're being choked, that is a deadly threat. But yeah, it could have been avoided had they left the window rolled up and not engaged any further with the guy and just tried to leave. But overall health and wellness.
And specifically how it relates to self-defense and self-defense training. We get a lot of people that come in here or are hesitant to come in here because of different health concerns.
Yeah.
They'll come in and they'll be like, "Oh, can I still do this even though I have bad knees, or even though I'm this age?" You know, lots of different concerns people have that are mostly wrapped around their health.
Yeah.
And I guess we're going to kind of discuss the validity of those concerns, as well as maybe different ways to overcome them, and what health has to do with self-defense anyway.
So if you come into a place with health concerns, I think in most cases, a decent instructor is going to be able to work around certain health concerns. Personally, we're talking about, you said bad knees. I was a catcher for years in baseball, and because of that, at this point in time, the doctors say I basically have no cartilage left in my left knee. But, I fought, I did all the stuff, still even within martial arts, I was able to pretty much do everything I needed to do. I just had to be very careful with that particular knee. There was certain kicks that I just don't do with that leg. I'm pretty limited to about probably 3 different kicks with that leg. I take it into consideration when working with people in that situation, because I understand, exactly how something like that can limit you. I'm not ever going to be able to just like consistently go for a run. I have to find another way. When I was fighting, I would always hop on a bike and ride to work on cardio, because running is not a thing for me. If I run, Kylie and I were getting ready for a 5K, and we were running probably 3 days a week or something like that, and I didn't do that for about 2 weeks, and my knee was in so much pain. I couldn't hardly walk. So everything swelled up, got really bad, so I had to stop running, and basically I was able to go do that 5K, but I had to prepare for it by not running. I had to prepare for it by doing other things. I know we've had people come through, older people to get started, people come in. A good instructor really should be able to work around most problems. I feel like most problems. And there are sometimes there are going to be something that's like outside of your scope of expertise. If somebody comes in here with certain health problems, it may be outside of my scope of expertise, but I can give them some things to help them. I may not be able to
Totally adapt everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So you may have certain problems but I think people with those type of problems are very rare. A lot of people look at it and go like, oh, well, I can't do that anymore because I can't do this thing. So therefore, I just can't learn to defend myself. I'm just going to have to shoot them. We hear that one a lot. I'm too old. I can't fight anymore. I'm just going to have to shoot them. It's like,
Okay. Have you worked on training on how to shoot them? Question.
Right.
We have training for that too.
Yeah.
And you probably need it.
Well, everybody needs to train something when it comes to self-defense, and if that's the only thing you can do, I basically do not believe that's the only thing.
If it's the only thing you're willing to do, train for it at least.
Yeah. There are
Most
things,
of the time it comes down to willingness.
it does. Yeah. We have people that come in here that are really young that want to work on self-defense. I have people that I have trained that are in their 70s that are in self-defense. And, yep, I am always happy to see older people come through.
Most of the time it's a mindset thing.
It really is.
Usually your obstacle is only as big as your mind is making it. Not to say that you're not going to struggle more than someone who's got, who's really physically healthy, You might struggle more than they will, but your willingness to overcome that changes the size of your difficulty.
Okay, we have had in the same class, I have had a guy who is 20 years old and a guy who is 68 years old in the same class doing stuff. And in that time, of course, the athletic stuff that is happening is a lot easier for that 20-year-old than the 68-year-old. But if you are the older person, look for a way to get around. How can you handle this situation?
Right.
That's what you need to do. You can't just go like, I can't do that, so I'm just done.
Yeah.
So I think what we have to do is kind of look for some things that you can adapt in certain ways.
Yeah.
And self-defense doesn't look the same for everyone.
No.
It looks different for each person.
It's not even the same for every situation.
Right. But yeah, two people that are the same age are not going to have the same abilities, and the same athleticism. I mean, they're going to do things differently, at least to some extent. So, I mean, training for the way that works best for you, as long as you're training and training effectively.
Yeah.
I mean,
And, you might be better at it than you think you might, you think you will be.
Yeah.
And you might even surprise us as well. Because
That
I'm
happens
really,
at times.
I'm really thinking about one of the kids in our advanced class right now. When you look at the memorization aspect of something or the more technical parts of martial arts, it doesn't look all that great. They don't seem to be the most coordinated. You're watching going, oh, I don't know if they're going to make it through that. And then you switch to the self-defense or sparring aspect, and it's like, holy cow, where did that person come from?
Yes.
And you're watching going, wait, where was that when you were doing your kata 5 minutes ago? Holy, what?
Well, I go back to, I may have even mentioned this young lady on the podcast before, years and years ago. She came in, we were going to go to a tournament, and I just opened her up. Anybody wants to go to this tournament, you're free to go, blah, blah, blah. This is how much it costs, this is where it is, blah, blah, blah. And this one girl looked at me and she says, oh, I want to go. Now, this girl was a beauty pageant queen, and she would come into class with, no joke, high heels on, her martial arts uniform, and she had come into class with her tiara and
the sash thing.
No, not the sash thing, the feather boa.
Oh,
Is it
yeah.
boa? Is that the right word?
Yep.
Okay, thing. That shows how much I know about that kind of stuff. Anyway, it was not unusual for her to walk into class or into the building in something like that. It wasn't like she come in one day and everybody's like, oh my gosh. No, this was fairly common occurrence, and she was super timid and everything. Well, we ended up going to this tournament, and the guy that's head of the tournament comes up to me and well, he says, I don't have any girls in her division. Is it okay if she fights in the boys' division? And I thought, I was afraid for this child if she was going to fight in the girls' division, because she's not very athletic. Or she doesn't seem to be very athletic, even sparring stuff like that in the class. So I don't know. I said, I have to put it up to the parents. I have to leave it up to them. And they're saying, yeah, let's do it. And she beat the crap out of some boys in her division. I couldn't believe it. I was like, where in the world is this kid in class? So, I mean, sometimes you really just have no earthly idea. As an instructor, sometimes I don't have any earthly idea what they're really capable of at times.
I mean, other things too is people that we've had come in that already can't walk very well or don't have proper use of one side of or one arm.
Yeah.
We've had people come in that have difficulty seeing. What else have we had?
I've had a guy train with me for a while that only had one arm, So.
But most of the time, it's something you can work through. When it's some kind of physical condition, most of the time it can be worked through.
Yeah.
I'm not saying if someone came in paralyzed from the neck down and it's teach me how to do this. That's a little different.
Yeah.
Right. At that point, you probably need to hire a bodyguard. But don't let a condition stop you from seeking it out.
Yeah.
Don't let a condition stop you from seeking out self-defense training. Or make you automatically assume that you can't do it. And definitely don't think that you're too old to get self-defense training.
Yeah.
You're never too old.
Now, aside from conditions, there's just overall healthy living.
Yeah.
And making yourself healthy. And that does have an effect on your ability to defend yourself.
It really does.
It opens up more options.
Yeah.
If you can run away, it's a whole lot better if you're in a decent enough health to run away.
Basically, whenever you really want to be a safe person, you want to keep yourself safe. Making yourself healthy, if you have the potential to be a healthy person, if you're able to eat well and get regular exercise and stretch and be more flexible, more options in the self-defense world open up to you. You are able to do more than the average person will be able to, or someone who does have a health condition. So if the only thing holding you back from being healthy is you can make that difference.
Yeah. It's true. And I do, let's talk about a little bit of confession time for myself. I have decent health. I went and got physical not that long ago. Doctor says, I realize the scales say you're overweight by far, but like your blood pressure's good, cholesterol's good, all these other things are good. I'm generally healthy in a lot of other ways. I just would feel better if I could get some weight off. And I feel like I could move better and carry myself better and not be as much stress on my joints and my knees. So I know that I would be a better defender of myself and my family and anybody else who's around me if I was in a little better health than I am. And I think a lot of that comes down to laziness. Admittedly, I need to be better about paying more attention about what I eat and stuff like that, and then probably getting more cardio at this point. And I think a lot of people are there. And I would hate to go through this entire podcast and not talk about the fact that, in all honesty, your chances of having a heart attack is a lot higher than your chances of having to defend yourself in the street. Mm-hmm. So I think that is another thing that people need to kind of take into effect is like, okay, I'm training all this hardcore training, but then let's go out here and eat a triple bacon cheeseburger, and then the supersized fries and the Let's think through and look at your health and your self-defense in all aspects.
We're saying this after we just came from a hamburger place. So.
Yes.
I had a grilled chicken sandwich, by the way.
Did you eat fries?
I did eat fries, though. It was a small fries.
I think you should attach the picture of all of us sitting around the table that you just took to the podcast. Just, there we are. That was us eating it.
Kylie can drop that in there when she does the video editing portion.
That would
There's
be
also-
That's your reminder.
That would be funny.
There's also like what you drink as well. There's like not even what would be considered like obvious health risks, but just like soda. The basic.
That's what I was thinking you were talking about when you said obvious health risk.
I don't mean like overconsumption of alcohol, which is obviously unhealthy.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm. But I know someone who just hates water. So they drink they drink Pepsi all day.
I used to be that dude. I did.
I couldn't do it.
No.
I can't imagine. I am shocked at how much soft drinks I used to drink. Mm-hmm. And I still drink some soft drinks, but I do a whole lot better than I used to. When I was fighting, I'd drink only water. Mm-hmm. Like that's all I ever drank.
I don't really like soft drinks, so I'm in the clear.
Kylie's like, I'm just better than all of you.
Cardio is really hard for me. I am not overly athletic. Never have been, even though I danced my entire life. Mm. It takes a lot for me. I'm not going to run unless something's chasing me. Running makes me angry. It really does. You don't want to be around me if I run. I was telling, I think, you one day and you another day about just working on trying to build my endurance back up to do a certain number of strikes, and I thought I was going to die on Monday when I did them because I did them as fast as I possibly could and with as much power as I possibly could, and I was only at about 400. Then I think I told you on maybe Thursday, I can't remember, I decided, okay, that didn't work and I almost died. So I changed it and I was like, okay, this time I'm going to do them as slow as I can with as much precision as I can and get them as good as I possibly can. And I made it up to 760 that time. And I was like, okay, I'm not dying. I did better, but I had to make some adjustments because I am just not able to do things that fast.
You can. It just takes time to build up the endurance to do that.
Right, I can, but at this moment, I don't have the endurance to do that. Mm. But I have to build up to it. And anything that I'm going to do that requires a lot, it takes me about 3 months to build up to being able to do it. Mm. And that's a lot of commitment to, do I really care that much?
Yeah.
So sometimes it just comes down to, do you care that much?
The motivation to begin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this has turned into like a personal confessions podcast.
That's
here.
okay. It probably needs to happen anyway.
Yeah, it's something that I am actually currently working on. It's like we were talking about this whole deal. Cardio and weight and stuff like that. This is something that I am just trying really hard to get better about at the moment. So I'm starting to track everything and pay attention to what I eat and pay attention to how much exercise I am doing and everything, and not just like leaving it all to chance and hopes and everything. Because leaving it all to chance has made me put on weight So like I'm trying to now kind of go back, and Matthew, my brother, if you're hearing this, he is he's the one who looked at me and said, all right, we're gonna lose like 20 pounds in this amount of time. Let's go. And so Matthew, if you haven't lost any more weight, I'm gonna just call you out right here on the podcast. Because I know we were talking about it. I was like, well, I'm down this much. I'm down a little more. Oh, now I'm up a little bit. And he was like, yeah, I'm back to where I started. So, it's a constant fight for some people on stuff like that. And I get it. So, I mean, I completely understand that. I'm not one of those guys who's like sitting there saying, like, work hard, you got it. And I think a lot of those guys, sometimes you'll sit there and say, come on. And they're just naturally skinny. It's easier for them in that respect. But then they have other issues, so I don't want to actually take it back.
Well, I mean, the whole struggles part of it is going to be there when you're talking about the health aspect of self-defense, because it's not easy to stay healthy.
Yeah.
And different people have different issues when it comes to that, Some people are trying to get rid of weight so that they can be healthier, and it's hard for them to keep it off. Some people are trying to gain weight so they can be healthier, and it's hard for them to keep it on. And then you have those freaks who are just like, yeah! And then they're like,
I love to work out. I love to run. I love to do all of these things. Right.
It's like, yeah, come on, keep up, chumps. The personal trainers and stuff at the gym.
The people you just want to punch in the face?
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, and then there are other people that have trouble too. Like people who have the motivation, maybe want to get better, and then the biggest thing that they could do for their health is to eat healthy, but money is an issue, and healthy food is super expensive.
It's called a garden at that point in time.
Well, all those people who live in the city and can't garden.
There's this urban garden trends going on. Check it out. I don't know anything about it because I don't live in the city, but it's what I hear. I've heard people talking about them. I don't know what they are, so YouTube it.
But either way, everyone's going to have their issues and have their struggles. You've just got to find a way to work around them.
Yeah, it's true.
And some people have the problems that you can't see as well, like immune disorders and chronic pain and things that really make things more difficult. So, and then you're caught in between the motivation to get healthier and the pain that trying to do that causes.
This kind of almost feels like a little bit of a downer of a podcast.
So where's some good starting points for everyone?
Go hiking, right?
No. I hate hiking. I'll walk. I'll walk all you want me to. Don't make me hike.
I think it's finding something that we enjoy. I mean, personally, I could probably sit here on the mats and fight with people for hours and just really enjoy myself. Not like fight because we don't like each other, but like fight and punch each other in the face because we do like each other. I could do that forever. And like for me, another thing is playing basketball. I could play basketball for a long time and just really thoroughly enjoy myself, and then fall over dead at the end because I'm very tired. But that's just another one of those things that I could do a lot of.
Right.
And I think it's just a lot of times finding something physical that you enjoy, and then doing the stuff that you don't enjoy, like eating healthy and stuff like that.
Didn't you have a percentage of time that you try to eat healthy compared
Yeah,
to
so I generally, if I will follow a rule in my eating, it was like 80% of the time, 80% of what I eat is good, clean, healthy food. And then the other 20%, I eat whatever the freak I want to, as long as it is, I'm actually doing that 20% of the food I eat is whatever I want, and 80% is really good. Then I'm gonna do okay. It's just people talk about like if you pretty much follow the 80-20 rule with most anything that you do, if like 80% of your money you are really good with, and like 20% you're not, then you're going to be a whole lot better off financially. And it's going to depend. Obviously, the percentage is going to depending on everything. But I'm just saying. But yeah, like 80% of the food I eat is, if I keep that, is that good, healthy, clean food, and then 20% I eat whatever. I'm still losing weight. Still doing well. I know one time I was at a family dinner and I was sitting there eating, and I had a lady in the family look at me and she says, Brian, I thought you were on a diet. You know, you've been losing all this weight. You're eating like crazy. I was like, today, this is my 20%, you know?
Yeah.
And right now, I want that dessert. So that's what I'm going for.
Yeah.
But that generally works for me, and it's a little easier to keep up with than, like, tracking all of these little things and stuff. So now I feel like we're talking about another thing that I'm not really good at.
Why? Because you have such a great sleep schedule and working habits and no stress at all, right?
You know, I feel like Jada came up with this podcast subject. I feel like she sat down and said, what's everything wrong with Brian?
She targeted you.
She did. And she said, let's make all these things a podcast conversations.
Not my fault if you're feeling convicted, bro.
We could always throw out one thing that we think that everyone else should, or someone else should work on about, you know.
It's all directed at me. It's all good. Yeah, our last point. Why don't you bring up the last point?
Well, the last bit is just like how your brain health and mental health affect your self-defense.
Yeah, I think taking care of yourself mentally, super important. That's something else that I need to really work on. I tend to overthink, overdo.
And put everything on in yourself.
Yeah, and try to take everything on and do it all myself. And operate on very little sleep.
And compensate with energy drinks.
And coffee. Yep.
Feeling targeted again?
I have felt targeted since the moment we started this podcast.
Well, people undervalue a clear head. Just being able to be living a healthy enough lifestyle to support your brain's health and keep a clear head. When you have a clear head, you can handle things better.
So are you telling me that it's not mentally healthy to get the clear head by drinking energy drinks and coffee?
Yes, that's what she's telling you.
That's not mentally or physically healthy.
Oh, okay.
That's called a crutch.
We're
Not
just
to
going to
say-
title this one the Judging Brian podcast.
Okay. Hey, I intake plenty of caffeine too. Yeah, but deliberately doing the things in your life that put you in a better headspace, because if you're someone, let's call me out for a minute. Like I get trapped inside my head all the time. So I get to a point where I'm just either thinking about the same things or have too many things in my head that I'm just completely absorbed inside myself, you know? And when you're out in public, it's harder to be aware of the things around you, which is the number one thing in self-defense, is just being aware of your surroundings. It's harder to be aware of your surroundings. It's hard to monitor the conversations going around you. It keeps you from being present with the people in your life, you know, when they're trying to tell you something. It's a problem. So when you're putting yourself in situations where you can offload some of that, or not have everything bouncing around in your head at one time, or handle things in a healthy way, brain health is important. Because someone who's stuck inside their head is going to be a whole lot more likely to be targeted than somebody who's focused on the exterior.
Yeah.
And other than that, it'll help you to think clearly and be able to act clearly and not be completely caught off guard if someone does approach you. And whether it be a mugging or just in general self-defense situation, it's going to help you think more clearly about what you actually should do, so you don't respond poorly.
Yeah.
Being able to have a healthy mind, you're going to make better decisions in the moment if you have to fend for your life or for a family member's life, or even just protect yourself from petty crime. And also express yourself better, and you're going to not overreact when little things happen, because let's be real, most self-defense situations are just people in stupid arguments. You know, arguing about dumb things. If you're having a bad day and you're not in a mental place where you can handle things like a mature adult, you're going to end up in road rage situations.
Yeah.
You know, just the stupidest fights. That's part of brain health, you know?
That's true. Yeah.
That's part of mental health. You want to be able to handle things in a calm manner and not lose your self-control. Right. And you do that by having a healthy mind. And having a healthy mind looks different for different people. I had noticed in the past year that I've been quite impatient and frustrated, and my attitude has just gotten worse. And so in an effort to kind of remedy that and get in a better headspace, I know that being outside helps with that. Being outdoors has been proven to release, is it serotonin or endorphins, and just help you be a little bit happier.
Yeah.
Being barefoot too, because it grounds you. So
Well, I'm barefoot all the time.
outside, but barefoot outside also affects your brain as well.
Yeah. So I contacted my mom, and now we go on morning walks before I go to work. That way I have an opportunity to be outside. Because this building, even though I love what I do dearly, and I love
windows and light.
Yes, I love what I do. I love teaching. But I have noticed myself being in a really terrible mood when I know it's gorgeous outside and I am in here for 12 hours.
Yeah.
It gets hard to be in a good mood when you know that, like, it's like, well, I'm not going to see the sun today, you know?
No, I get
It's
it.
like I'm just downstairs the whole day. I'm doing the teaching, and you get frustrated and claustrophobic, and it doesn't put you in a good mental state. So I noticed it bothering me. I noticed me handling things not as well and being in more foul moods, which that hasn't fully remedied, and I'm still working on it, you know, but in an effort to get better, you take action steps. For me, that was going on morning walks.
Yeah.
And it has helped a lot. I've been able to handle things a little bit better. Still have my moments, but everybody has their moments.
Everybody has their moments, yeah.
Atomic Bear, man, I love their products.
Oh, me too. Tons of tactical gear and survival gear, all for reasonable prices. Speaking of their products, Kylie, you're going to name as many of their products as you can in 10 seconds. Ready, set, go.
Okay,
10.
tactical pins, tactical
9.
flashlight, survival
8.
bracelet,
7.
fire starter,
6.
survival
5.
sleeping bag,
4.
Emergency blanket, I think,
2. 1.
and
Time
SWAT
up.
survival kit.
And time's up. Man, that's a lot of products, and they've got tons more on their website. Speaking of which, the best part of all of this is that if you use the coupon code Impact Defense on their site, you get 20% off.
Yeah, and that website is theatomicbear.com.
Go online now and find your products today.
So, I think what we're looking at, if you have a physical issue, you can probably work around it. Okay? Outside of that, try to live a healthy life in your eating and your exercise and all of that
Live
stuff.
a healthy lifestyle.
And then
Make it a
also
healthy lifestyle.
think about your mental health and everything. All of these things are going to make for a better quality of life, is going to make it easier to defend yourself in a situation if you need to. And, you know, it's just super important even when it comes to the idea of self-defense.
In an effort, it can also help, like, with the offloading of things inside your head.
Yeah.
That can change depending on if you're an introvert or an extrovert, and not to get into, like, personalities and all of that. But, you know, introverts, one part of having a healthier lifestyle might be prioritizing some time alone or just time in the quiet. And then for extroverts, it would be prioritizing time with people that you can trust to offload things onto and not feel like things are bouncing around inside of you. That's also a part of mental health, is knowing how you recharge and deliberately taking time to do that, to recharge.
If you guys are enjoying this podcast, go ahead and go over to Apple Podcasts, rate us, and write a review. We would very much so like that. And if you do write a review, we may be able to read on the podcast. Stay safe, stay alert, and we'll see you in the next podcast.
See you guys.
Bye. I know, I was like sitting there like... Good, wait, I'm gonna throw it. Just throw it, Jana, throw it. Oh, that's on camera.
Yeah.
We might stick at that.
I'm seeing wonderful bloopers for the end of the video.
Great.